now, at the moment, what people tend to be frightened of are general AIs, or AGI they call it, artificial general intelligence, which is like what we talked about earlier, a human-like capability thing.
Yes.
And we're miles away from that. We don't know how to do it. We haven't got them, and we're miles away. So at the moment, artificial intelligence is expert systems and very focused systems that do particular things. You can be scared of them in a limited economic sense because they're going to displace people's jobs. And actually, interestingly, in this panel discussion we had, it's going to be like what you might call middle-class jobs, so white-collar jobs. Not actually.
Why people are interested in universal basic income to sort of replace money that's going to be lost because there will be no jobs for all these people. Otherwise, we have just a mass catastrophe.
Yeah, they're very good. Someone said that these systems contracts and things like that. But it's interesting because it's a revolution. It's not like the Industrial Revolution where it's manual labour that gets hit.
Requesting recon at my location.
This is kind of interesting because it hits that kind of intermediate level that usually escapes. So you're right. One of the answers is to tax. There was an example was a robot tax. So in a car factory, you say to the manufacturer, well, okay, you can have a robot, but you pay the robot the same amount, and then that money goes into funding universal basic income or something like that. So I think there's got to be an economic change because these systems live without. But all the experts I spoke to agreed that the idea of a Terminator-style general intelligence taking over the world is miles away. And so whilst we might start thinking about the regulation, it's not going to happen soon, is the general point, I think. So I would disagree with him on that.
Secured.
Too far in the future at the moment. I might be one of those people that's going, it's going to be all right.
Right.
And then my iPhone takes me out on the way to the airport.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, it's our choice at the moment, isn't it? I mean, don't give your iPhone a laser. For example, and it doesn't matter if it goes crazy. I know that's a bit of a position. He would say power grids.
Yeah.
I guess, but.
Well, it's these concepts that are really hard to visualize, like sort of Kurzweil's idea of the exponential increase of technology leading to us to a point in the near future where you're going to be able to download your consciousness into a computer. You talk to computer experts, they're like, there's no way, we're miles away from that.
Yeah, or neuroscientists.
Yes.
Neuroscientists go,
no
one brain cell, probably we can't.
But Kurzweil's convinced that what's going to happen is that as technology increases in this wildly exponential way where we really can't visualize it, we can't even imagine how much advancement will take place over 50 years. But in those 50 years, something's going to happen that radically changes our idea of what's possible. And I think Elon shares this idea as well, that it's going to sneak up on us so quickly that when it does go live, it'll be too late.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth putting the framework in place, I think, the regulatory framework. Even as you said, for the more realistic problem, which is people's jobs are going to get displaced.
Yes.
And there's a great... I was at a thing and someone said, I can't remember who it was, but they said it was a politician. The job of the innovation system is to create jobs and it destroys them. So you've always got to remember that as a government and as regulators. If you're going to allow technologies into the marketplace that destroy people's jobs, it is your responsibility to find a way of replacing those jobs or compensating those people, as you said. Otherwise, you get breakdowns, social
being
breakdown.
A human being, though, is that people need some meaning. Like just giving them income, I think, is just going to.
Enemy UAV overhead.
I mean, it's just my speculation, but it's going to create mass to space. Even if you provide them with food and shelter, people need things to do. So there's going to be some sort of a demand to find meaning for people, give them occupation, give them something, some task. Let's say it seems to be one of the critical parts of being a person. So we need things to do that we find meaning in. You know, like you were talking about, we're the only things that we know of that have meaning, that find meaning and share meaning and believe in that.
Dropping ammo here.
We're going to need something like that. If universal basic income comes along, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Tossing sticky grenade.
They're going to want something to do. If a person is you're doing something for
Friendly
an
UAV
occupation,
online.
this is your identity, and then all of a sudden that
Our
occupation
UAV
becomes
is
irrelevant.
orbiting the area.
Because it's faster, cheaper, quicker. These people are going to have this incredible feeling of despair
Friendly cruise
and
missile deployed.
just not being valuable.
I mean, the utopian sort of version of this is that everybody gets to do what we're doing now, which is make a living, sort of thinking and creating and all that kind of, so that's the utopian ideal is you don't need to do the stuff, the job that you don't really want to do in the factory.
Confirmed one.
Right.
You can do the thing that humans are best at. But I agree, that's a very utopian
Friendly UAV online.
view.
Yeah.
Does everybody want to do that, or does everybody have the mindset?
Well,
Maybe it goes back to education.
if everybody had an interest like that. If everybody went on to pottery and painting and doing all these different things that they've always really wanted to do, and their needs are met by the universal basic income that they receive every month. Boy, there's a lot of people I don't think have those desires or needs, and to sort of force it onto them at age 55 or whatever it's going to be, seems to be very, very
Secured the kill.
Yeah.
Getting stitched up!
It's a big challenge.
But I think that in concept, at least, it's
Incoming!
inevitable that we do have some sort of an artificial intelligence that resembles us, or that resembles
Confirmed
something
one.
like Ex Machina. If people choose to create that, choose to create it in our own image. But that's very godlike, isn't it? God created us in His own image.
Yeah, and again,
Tossing sticky grenades!
I don't know. When I talk to people in the field, as
Deck
you probably have,
secure.
most
Kill
of them say,
confirmed.
don't know how to do it.
More strike ready
Yes,
for fire
It's
mission.
really,
Right.
it's going to be miles away. So maybe I'm hiding my head in the sand a bit, but I don't think that. I think it's.
Sentry available.
I think we'll know it when. I don't think
EQA
anyone's going to do it
confirmed.
accidentally.
Right.
So I don't think it's just suddenly going to be upon
Requesting
us.
recon flyover!
I
Copy.
think
UAV
we
orbiting
will
the
see,
AO.
we
Recon is
will
online.
see ourselves acquiring that capability.
We'll see ourselves
We'll
getting
see those systems beginning
Confirmed.
to
Enemy KIA.
emerge, and then we'll think about it. I
Just to-
think.
200 years ago, if you wanted a photograph of something, you want a picture of something, you had to draw it. I mean, there was no photography 200 years ago.
Friendly UAV on station.
Just think of
Be
that.
advised, UAV
It's
is
almost
exiting the AO.
inconceivable. No automobiles. No photography. What was automobile? No, maybe there was some sort of machines that drove people around, right? Something close. There was
200 years
trains
ago.
earlier than that, right? You go back 500 years, you have almost nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, we've been quick.
It's so fast. It's so
Yeah.
fast. I mean, and then what we're doing right now, there's people right now in their car that are streaming this. So they're in their car and they're listening as they're driving on the road. Maybe they have a Tesla. Maybe they have an electric car. They're driving down the road, streaming through people talking, where it's ones and zeros that are broken down into some audible form, and you can listen to it in your car. That is bananas.
Yeah. I agree. We've been quick.
So
Well, think of it. The internet. I mean, it's not long. I mean, I remember it being invented.
Yeah.
Well, certainly the web.
when did
the
you
web.
get on?
So the web. Well, it was very early for me because I was in doing particle physics, and of course the web from CERN, the WWD. bit.
Right.
So it's certainly in the early 90s I was
Secured the kill.
involved in
dead.
that. In the university environment with email and all that kind of stuff.
Hostile
So I don't-
more
I don't know
strike
when-
near your position.
Depending
Убейте
on when
подтверждено.
You could have a web browser that just the only sites that were there were NASA, and I think NASA had one of the early sites, and CERN. It was very little.
When did you become involved with CERN?
So that would be, I started doing particle physics.
Friendly UAV online.
And when did the Large Hadron Collider go live?
That was I remember it was 2000
Tossing sticky grenade!
2007, or 2008. It's so long. It was about 10 years
Keep
ago.
it up.
But it started up, and then we had a problem with it, and then it took a while to fix. So it hasn't been taking data that long.
I'm getting
It's a
stitched
tremendous
up!
success thing now.
1
It's
minute
operating
remaining.
beyond its design capabilities. It's quite incredible.
It's so stunning,
It's
like
an
as a
incredible piece of
physical
work.
thing. That this, I mean, how large is it? How large is
It's
the loop?
it's 27 kilometers.
Our
so
UAV is
Sentry
orbiting the
deployed.
area.
16 miles, and it's a circular
Throwing
sort of a
subtext!
building.
yeah. Well, it's a big
Enemy
tube.
down.
I mean, you think
Friendly
basically
UAV
it's
on
mainly
station.
under France and partly under Switzerland. and it accelerates protons around both ways. One beam goes one way and goes the other, and they go around 11,000 times a second. So that's very close to speed of light, 99.999999% speed.
Confirmed one.
And then we cross the beams and collide the particles. And in those collisions, you're recreating the conditions that were present less than a billion per second after the Big Bang. So we know that physics. So going back, we used to about carbon and oxygen, you can trace that story back way beyond the time when there were protons and neutrons to when there were quarks and gluons around, and go all the way back, and the Higgs boson doing its thing back then. And so we can see all that physics in the lab. So that's why we have a lot of confidence in that story.
It's so fascinating that they were able to talk someone into funding that they got a bunch of people together, and that you were able to explain to politicians and regular people what you're trying to do.
It's a great example of how you get something done. So it was the 50s when CERN was established. I think it was 53 or 54. Can't quite remember. It's something like that. And it was built out from the Second World War. So you have Europe at the end of the war. And it was realized that the only way forward for Europe was collaboration to rebuild the scientific base. And for peace